Hello and welcome to another edition of your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane.
Insane in the Membrane.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the show. It's your old pal Wilson, back once again with another edition of Insane in the Membrane. Thank you for continuing to listen to us and support us. We really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed any of this, do tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best kind of advertising, so do get out and do that. That would be great. Thank you so much. Thank you to our patrons for continuing to support us. We appreciate that as well. And I hope you're all right. I hope you're doing well out there. It's winter time, isn't it? We should be hibernating really, but we're out. We have to go out and earn our living and get our food, because we don't live in the woods anymore. We have to go out and we have to get dressed, and we have to go out and we have to go and buy our shopping, and then we have to come back and put it in our cupboards, whereas before we could just go out into the woods and we could kill an animal or forage for some berries and then go back to our cave. I wonder what that would be like. Imagine that. Imagine going from a house and then you have to live in a cave. Imagine. We don't realise how lucky we are. I was in bed the other day and fucking freezing to the point, for the first time in my life, I was like, I might get myself some pajamas. I don't want that to happen. I normally wear shorts and or just the good suit that the good Lord gave me. You don't need that image in your head, but yeah, I actually thought about getting some pajamas. Am I getting? Is this what happens? Is it? You get to that point and you go, it just happens. You don't even think about it. One day you're going to bed, you got your bits hanging out, and the next minute you're in pajamas and you don't even know where it starts. Oh God! It's slippers I have a problem with. I can't stand slippers. They look like they smell even when they're on the racks. You know what I mean? They look. I can't. Maybe I think they represent what they represent as well. I don't want to get too comfy, because they just seem to me like you've just like, I can't wait to go and put my slippers on. Oh God, I don't want to be that person. All right, let's not be that. Let's not do that. We talked about that in the episode, actually. Not that necessarily. We talked about punk in the episode that's coming up now with the mighty Ben Mills. Ben Mills from Hellfire Creative. And for anyone who's a massive fan of the heavy metal children's band, Slay Dougie, you want to listen to this episode, because we've got an exclusive. We've got an exclusive on this episode. So you're going to want to listen to this little exclusive, little bit of a thing for you. Some information that you might be well chuffed about. There, fans of Slay Dougie. I knew of them, and then I listened to them. Oh, I didn't realise. And I was listening to the song "I Am a Shape." I talk about that in the episode. And I was like, this is for kids. Excellent stuff. And they're massive. So yeah, tune in for that. That's coming up in the episode. I won't give it away now. It's just me chanting on. Ben, I've known him for a couple of years. He did my headshots and stuff for my last Element show. Very talented man, lovely dude. We've got like mutual friends in common, things like that. And I hadn't really spoken to him properly before, like in depth. Like we've had a pint and things like that. And Ben did my comedy course that I did a few years ago, and yeah, a really, really lovely dude. And I wanted to get him on, have a chat, and we covered all manner of things. We talked about the breakdown of friendships and trust and things like that. And it's a shame when you fall out with people. It's a shame, because you want to, no one wants to fall out with anybody, but we talk about that, and we talk about how do you get things back on track after you've fallen out with loved ones and things like that. And we covered loads of bases on this one. It was a really enjoyable one. And I felt at the end of it, you'll hear it on this. I felt like, oh yeah, I am going to do that. So I felt inspired. So cheers, Ben, and hopefully you will as well. So coming up in a minute is Ben Mills.
A podcast from producer Paul.co.uk.
Insane in the Membrane.
Okay, you got very professional. Looks more professional than my setup.
It's all smoke and mirrors, mate. It's just this bit. It's good though. This is the thing, because you're doing the same thing as producer Paul, so the setup's perfect.
Yeah,
mate. There we are, and we just get on with it. There's no introduction in that.
Good. No preamble.
How you been? You all right?
Yeah, not bad. I got a bit of a cold.
Yeah, same. I think, it's just, there's a lot of it about.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
This is how it's going to be. Just us two going, oh yeah, I'm a bit aches and pains and all sorts. Oh mate, I just had this thing, because I'm a lot older than you, but I just went up the bank to go and pay in a cheque. How old am I? A fucking cheque.
Was it a big charity?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Well done. £42 raised. And I was, all the ice is slow, and I actually thought, well, better be careful. I don't want to fall over and break my hip.
Well, you're at the age now where if a fall could be it.
Done, mate. Done.
That's it. Oh, I've had a fall. And then just, your health just deteriorates from there. That's it.
It starts with a broken knee and then it ends just death. That's it now. I was listening to, because you were talking about Slay Dougie before, and I hadn't listened to it. I didn't even know what it was, because my kids are older.
You got grown-ups, mate.
Yeah, mate. I mean, they're as tall as you lot. So
no, they're probably bigger than me, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're both 6'2", 6'1".
Oh yeah, well, I'm only 6 foot.
Oh, are you?
So yeah,
everyone's taller than me, mate. So I just think everyone's a tree. Just get lost. But I was listening to Slay Dougie. I listened to I Am a Shape.
Mate, that's the best one that those dogs do. For
really?
Sure. Yeah, that's the favourite one for me.
Yeah,
or Round and Round the Garden.
Oh right, yeah. I didn't really, because I knew because you've been in bands before, like heavy metal bands. I didn't know, because I was listening and I'm like, fuck, and the kids dig it.
Brutal, mate. Well, I guess it's stopped now, so I don't know whether to
give it away.
I don't know, because the story is that I am one of the handlers for the singer.
Yeah.
In Slay Dougie.
I see. Right.
He's a 6'5" bipedal canine.
Yeah.
Who, with the voice of an angel. But I guess now it's over. I could probably admit that it was me, but I don't know.
We can edit this out. Don't worry. We can change this.
I don't know. Because it could always come back, couldn't it? But essentially, it was Slay Dougie came up. Your kids would be way too old to even know what Hey Dougie was, right?
I think, that rings a bell though.
Hey Dougie's like one of the biggest kids cartoons on CBeebies.
Yeah,
it's absolutely huge.
Really,
it's fantastic. It's well written, well animated, and basically they're just brilliant. And one of the episodes was about discos, and they did this song called Stick. Right. Which is just stick, sticky, stick, and it's like trance kind of thing. And me and my friend Nick, who is a creative director at Gravity Road, so he's in charge. He does loads of stuff for Sainsbury's and Transformers and things like that. So he's like way up there. He does. Right. He's a drummer and a little bit of a home bedroom recording artist. So we put together a heavy metal version of Stick, and within 48 hours of us doing that and launching it, we made it in 48 hours from like idea to delivery. Then Steve Lamacq played us on Six Music the next day. So 48 hours from saying we should do a heavy metal version of this to 48 hours later we were played on Six Music.
What the fuck?
I went viral.
Just from you going, this would be good.
That'd be funny.
Just chucked it out.
Yeah. And then from there it just went insane. So we went and did Britain's Got Talent. Like they asked us to come do that, and that was a disaster. Worst thing I've ever done.
Oh really?
Did France Has Got Talent in lockdown.
Mate.
All sorts of things. Yeah, it was a really crazy kind of ride. It's like I think 5 years we were doing it.
Fucking hell.
Sold out gigs across the UK.
Yeah.
Like mad.
Because I remember talking to people and they were going, there was like kids and grown-ups digging it, and then sometimes there were grown-ups without kids.
Well, that was always my joke. It's like, is anyone here on their own? Is anyone here on their own and an adult? Get out.
Yeah. But you've been in bands for years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think 25 years. Since I was about 15. So 23 years.
Yeah.
I was doing bands, and I've done bands that got quite popular, and I've done bands that no one gives a flying. Can I swear on? Can I swear?
Of course you can. Mate, you can cut the place.
No one gives a flying fuck about. Yeah. But Slay Dougie will always be the biggest band I was in, even though it didn't tour the world or anything. Slay Dougie sold more tickets than any band I've ever been in.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
That's
insane.
mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But how did you get into it? Is it just because it's
needed to be loved, I guess. It's the same reason that I tried to do stand-up comedy, I guess. Like, just need some kind of validation, but like not a lot.
Just some.
Yeah. But well, it started off with just like mates that we met down the skate park. They were going, "We're going to do a band." I'm like,
"Oh yeah,
I can't play guitar or bass or drums, but I reckon I could be a front man." And then it kind of snowballed from there, and then ended up like supporting Slipknot in Australia.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
that's massive.
It's really big.
Yeah,
it's insane.
But you've got that. I've always been, because people listen to that sort of music and they can't. They go, "Well, it's just shouting." You go, "No, it's not." Listen to. You actually, if you listen to it, there's I couldn't sing like that. No. It's next level.
Yeah.
You know? How did you find out you could do that? Because that's. It just happened.
Probably just doing it in my bedroom when I was a kid, just like singing along. I remember my dad was like really into Nirvana and Marilyn Manson, like which is to look at him you'd never think it, but he was a punk growing up, so he kind of like his music taste kind of evolved and changed to, and I guess Nirvana were the next thing after punk, right, that was any good.
Yeah,
like can't really count Guns N' Roses and that, because they aren't very good. As much as I do enjoy listening to Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi, actually they're not good, are they?
It's a bit too glossy for me. That kind of, it's like when you listen to Nevermind the Bollocks now. Yeah, I'm a bit like, it sounds too produced. It's too to me,
the remastered versions and stuff. You're like, what have they done? And then because I've got like my dad's CDs and records and stuff, and I've listened to the original record, but I guess it would be the original. It wouldn't have been or second pressing, and it's like, this sounds fucking shit. Like, what is it? They've recorded it like they've just got like when we used to write like demos for punk bands and stuff, we'd put our like a dictaphone on the floor and put a jumper over it, and that was our demo.
Yeah.
And the jumper would be like, "Oh, that'll do." But that's how it sounds like. And then the remastered ones, you're like, you can hear how bad they are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think John Lydon's vocals are amazing, but like, they're not great, are they? But
it's like when you listen to like when you listen to bootlegs of punk bands from back then, and they sound fucking terrible. But I guess if you were there at the time, and bearing in mind up until that point it had been prog rock and all that shit, that's, you know, and everything's miserable and everything's shit, like a bit like it is now.
Yeah.
To have then this music that suddenly go, oh yeah, they're telling the establishment to fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that. I'll have a bit of that.
I love that.
Love that shit.
I still love that shit.
Oh yeah, of course. I think, and that's the thing. I learned a few years ago. I was like, oh yeah, punk isn't just. It's not the music. It's not just a genre. It's actually a vibe. It's how you approach stuff. You just have that punk kind of like. Punk is like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fucking don't you fuck. You're pissing me off. You're taking the piss.
Yeah, I've been trying. I was trying to work it out, because obviously, like, I class myself as a punk, but I do like the finer things as well. Like, you know, I like a nice whiskey. You know, I like fast cars. Like, so but I don't think punk is. Yeah, it's not spitting and it's not wearing clothes that are shit. It's kind of like not giving a fuck, but also giving a massive fuck about things that are important.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
know.
Giving a fuck about the right stuff.
Yeah, and not like giving a fuck about, you know, how you look, how you dress, but giving a fuck, like, again, like today, like you said, like, the world's going to shit, and it's down to people that are just lining their own pockets.
Yeah.
You know, trying to make themselves even richer than they already are.
Exactly.
It's the opposite of that, I guess. It's the opposite of the Tories, I guess.
Yeah. Basically, anything that's opposite that is punk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all around that. You know, that's when it all came out, isn't it? You know, I guess it was an opposition to how the world was then, and it does feel like it is now. Yeah. I think I wasn't alive.
I was a bit too young for punk the first time. I do remember it. I remember my mum and dad, my dad especially buying. My dad got me into The Damned and people like that. So I owe my parents a massive debt. But yeah, I remember seeing punks. And then, like everything, it goes. You know, it always gets commercialised, doesn't it? It turns into fucking money boxes and posters and all that shit. And then you got. Do you remember Matt Belgrano in the 80s?
No, mate, I was born in 85.
Oh, were you? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 37.
Oh, fuck, yeah, I forget. I forget you
I'm a
lot.
baby.
I forget you lot are fucking... Yeah, you're way younger than I forget. Jesus Christ. It's because you've achieved so much and you have an attitude.
So much, just been around the block, mate.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're road hardened.
I thought, I've still got my hair. I'm not gone grey. I thought I could get away being 37. I'll tell you what, I was really happy the other day. I was on a shoot with loads of young people, and they were surprised when they found out I was 37. They
Really?
thought I was 31 at most.
Yeah, mate. There
So
you
I was
go.
like, yes. I was like, I've got 2 kids.
But I think that's what it is. You've just got a young vibe. I think it's like with what I do. When people find out I'm 50, they go, mate, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah. I think because of comedy, it just keeps you young. But
It does keep you young.
What I like though is that you've been in heavy metal bands, and the way you look is some people kind of, they still assume certain things like, oh, you've got tattoos, you listen to that kind of music, and you're this and you must be that kind of person. But having spoken to you, there is a sensitive side, and it isn't that. There's more to you, you know. You do.
I do care.
You do give a shit,
do
and
care.
you are a sensitive little soul, and I like that. And I just, you know, do you find it easy to talk about emotions and feelings and that?
I find it easier to talk to my mates about it, and like people like you and Marcus and people I meet. I don't like talking about my feelings to my wife.
No,
Because I'm like, well, I don't really get upset or anything. So that's not really my feeling. My feelings are normally like a bottling up rage of something random that happened to me in the day. That's where I kind of find my emotions get quite worked up. But I've centered myself, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Like the other day, I was driving along and someone pulled out on me in the car, but I'd already come to a stop. I was going to let them go.
Yeah.
And because they didn't realise that I was going to let them go, they stopped and then they kicked off at me.
What?
Like proper screaming out the window, calling me all the names of the sun. I was like, what has happened in that person's day?
Oh yeah.
I'm very like, I do get angry, but I've tried and reel myself in straight away now. I think I can't be angry all the time, and I was angry for 35 years. I reckon I've been angry. The last 2 years I've really tried to get rid of my anger.
Yeah.
And it's that's where I kind of like talking to people about things, because I like to think if I talk about what makes me angry to someone, hopefully they'll be able to give me a different point of view on something, so I can kind of learn like different ways of dealing with things. Like before, I'd just kick off. I would just be screaming. I'd just scream at someone, get out of my car, try and fight them, try and smash the place up. But it's like, okay, that person's having a shit day. I'm not going to make it any worse for them. I'm just going to like wave and say I'm sorry. Yeah. Like just let me take the blame for that for a minute, and that person can kind of feel like they've won, move on.
Yeah. And it takes a while to get to that point, because I'm the same as you. The amount of times I've jumped out of the car and be shouting, hollering, and you go, you're not annoyed at that. That doesn't matter. You're just annoyed that earlier on something happened, and you've carried that with you all day.
Yeah.
And it just, I'm getting better at talking to people about stuff. I think the last couple of years have been tricky, and I don't think we realise how tricky it's been. Do you know what I mean? I think it's really affected us, what's happened, these lockdowns and stuff, more than we realise.
I think a lot of people are trying to find answers, answers that kind of fit what they want to believe. And I think that's why, like, this rise of conspiracy theory things, I love a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, same.
I love it. I love to think, oh, that's really weird. How did that? I want to believe it, but I also know that that it's probably not true. But maybe some elements of it are true. But I think people are just trying to find truth that makes them feel better about life being shit. Yeah. And if it's a conspiracy theory that the government's out there trying to poison us all so we're sterilised or whatever, like so we can't have babies, or if it's Elon Musk buying Twitter so he can delete pictures of himself that are compromising, if it's something that makes you feel better, then fair enough. But until people can kind of, I can't really think what it is. It's like, until you can find happiness inside, you're always going to project your misery, and you're always going to try and find an answer that fits your narrative that's going to make you feel better about how shit things are. And I think that's why conspiracy theories are. And I think since we were trapped inside for so long, we needed people needed answers for why they were trapped inside, and they wanted to be more than just something shit's happening and we're just gonna have to deal with it. They wanted it to mean more than that. People. I think that's all it could be, and I think now we're allowed to be out in the world. People are scared to be out in the world. They want to be in their bubble on social media. They want to be causing arguments. They want to be fighting in comments because it's easier, right?
Yeah, true. Absolutely. Everyone's the conspiracy theories really make me laugh that they're still happening, even though these last couple of years have just shown you how inept our government
exactly
are. And you're like, what? And you think these governments, these people were that organised enough to arrange so 9/11 was an inside job, that classic one.
Yeah, Bush did 9/11.
Yeah. And you're like, are you fucking kidding? Look what happened when this virus happened.
They completely didn't handle it in any way. I mean, they couldn't even cover up having a party.
No, exactly.
They couldn't even do that. So, how are they meant to be covering up anything else without it coming out? Like, they got found out when they brought all that shit PPE, and then they ditched it all out to their mates. And but luckily for them, they just have to say, no, didn't. And then people forget about it because Meghan Markle's done a documentary, so we can forget about the stupid shit that they were actually doing.
Yeah.
It's deflecting. I think the main problem is that we've all got this thing in our heads where we want to need that 24-hour news cycle. We can fill it. We can fill that gap. We can move on from this shit that these horrible people in government are doing. Maybe they're not as conniving as we think, but they are getting away with literal murder.
Yeah, literal murder.
And it's being disguised, and I know we're getting into a conspiracy thing now, but
this is the thing, and then everyone like Matt Hancock being on I'm a Celebrity. And you're going, the reason they put him on there is because they knew you're all going to lose your fucking shit and you're all going to be talking about the programme.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he's on there. And the fact that he's going, you're going, what the fuck? This is fucked that you did that.
I just want forgiveness. I was like, mate, what are you doing? Like, I'm surprised he hasn't been assassinated by some angry person that's gone, like, you killed my mum died on her own because of you, and then you go and flaunt it on TV.
Yeah.
But then there's other people, because I don't watch I'm a Celebrity, but it's like, you can see people are going, starting to forgive him. Like, he didn't mean to do what he did.
I know. And you're like, what are you on about? What are you on about? What's amazing is that footage of him with his assistant in the office, and everyone was going, "Oh look, caught red-handed." He go, "Who put that camera there? Why is that facing that? What's all that about?"
Oh yeah, and that's when you get into like that. So they're all sneaky. Like apparently that footage from the of them having the party on the patio is from Rishi Sunak's office.
Right.
Yeah. So apparently he released that.
Oh, yeah. What a bunch of snakes.
Yeah, and there was this is again, it's not conspiracy. This is just being fed things from people. The website that was like Sunak for Prime Minister, or whatever the website was, I don't know what it was registered the day before that image leaked. No. So he it was all a plan, man. It's all a plan. And he still didn't win. Liz Truss won.
And you think they're big enough to organise?
Liz Truss was allowed to be Prime Minister.
Yeah, go on. You carry on with you. Yeah, absolutely. They're so organised that it's all everything's an inside job. Fucking hell. But I love a good conspiracy theory. Yeah. I love all that.
It does help, man. I think, especially during that lockdown, like it helped to have these things to kind of think about and go, oh, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting, because nothing was happening. Like what was really happening was like, people started podcasts, which was cool. That was something to get into. Yeah. I started a conspiracy podcast, with some mates. Now I totally don't believe any conspiracy ever because I did a podcast of it, and they believe them all, and I was like, no, this is all bullshit.
That makes sense.
As soon as you start researching any conspiracy, it falls apart instantly. Yeah. So apart from like big ones, I
like QAnon that they keep announcing that this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and none of it's worked. None of it's come true, and yet people still believe them. You go, what do you believe in? Do you like being part of the fruity little club?
Yeah, I think it is. It's like, again, it goes back to people trying to like make themselves feel better. You want to feel like you're privy to information that other people have. Like you're more important. You know, it's like buying VIP tickets to go and see a band and then get a picture with them beforehand. You know, you give the band an extra £200, but you're VIP, but you paid for it. It's the same thing with that QAnon thing. Is that you want to know what other people don't know. You want to feel superior, going, well, I know this.
Yeah.
You know, actually, well, I read this, and you don't know it yet, but this is going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. Like,
yeah, they've had their little moment. They had their little shot of dopamine.
Yeah, like, you know, I know someone that was just like every 6 months for the last 4 years, Queen's dead, Queen's dead. And then they get it right when she actually is dead, when everyone knows she's dead. Then they go, told you she was dead. I was like, you've been saying it every 6 months for 4 years, so it doesn't count that you got it right this one time.
I suppose if you keep saying it, yeah, at one point
Exactly,
you're going to be right.
happen. She's 97. Of course she's going to die. Or she just shed her skin.
Yeah, that's what it was. She's just gone back to the planet. She's gone back to wherever they were supposed to come from.
Yeah, the reptile world.
That's it, yeah. That's the other thing as well, reptiles. And you're like, mind you, the way, there's the other side of it. They keep finding stuff and you go, oh, maybe there is something in it. Like octopus aren't from this world. I've said that on here loads of times. But
they're insane.
They're octopus with their 12 brains, whatever it is, and they're able to get out of a jar that, you know, how'd you work that out?
You say that though, but they haven't invented Wi-Fi, have they? So they're not that smart.
How do you know? It could have come from them.
You know, you can get Wi-Fi down there from the octopuses.
That's why they've all got them. They got all them legs.
8 bars.
I'm glad that all that exists, though. That, like you say, it does make things more palatable because if you just watch all the shit, and you'd go insane because as you say, all the people that are supposedly in charge are just making it more and more difficult so that they can make as much money as they can and keep us in our place without, you know, they don't. We're just numbers on a screen. They don't give a shit, do they? They
don't care. They don't care about how many people died. You know what we went through during that lockdown, what our kids went through. Like my youngest was 1, I think, at the first lockdown.
Yeah,
like when we locked down, he was just turned 1, so he did a year where he just saw us.
Yeah,
like, that's insane. That can't be good for a kid. Like I think we got lucky because my next door neighbour, basically there's a hole in our fence, and their daughter is the same age as my daughter, so they had someone the whole time. They had someone to play with that wasn't one of us.
Yeah,
you know, and you know I had Simon, we just put him in. Simon and the boys, they're in our bubble.
Yeah,
illegally, but whatever. He lives around the corner.
Yeah.
So you know, we kind of made the best of it, but I'm sure there's something gone wrong in all of our heads from it.
Yeah,
and we just don't know what it is.
Well, there's you know, I've fallen out with very close people because because while that was going on, there was some other mad shit going on. And I didn't realise how bad it was until I came out the other side, and I'm like, oh fuck, I was properly fucked. Yeah. And then I've had loads of people say to me, like close to me, going, yeah, we could see what was happening, but all we could do was kind of like, we were like sort of stood like near you, kind of like, you all right, mate? How's it going? You all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I just see videos of things from back then. I'm like, oh no, I was fucked. I was properly fucked. Yeah. And it has caused damage. Yeah. With loved ones that really makes me sad, but you know, I don't know what you can do. There's nothing you can do, really. You can.
I think falling out with people that you're close to is really hard because it's hard to kind of bring that back and to trust again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you know, you can apologise and you can make up for it as much as you can, but I think there's always going to be that shit. Because when I was a kid, like, and I'm talking like 20 to 32, I was horrible.
Oh, really?
I was just not a good guy, you know. I just do things that were just, I look back now and I cringe. Like, I genuinely, like, I worry about them. Like they're not like, I've never murdered anyone, I never raped anyone, you know, I never stole from anyone, but I said and did things that were just stupid.
Yeah.
And the more I grow up, you know, and having kids and, you know, it changed me. But actually the thing that changed me the most was when I was 29, I did DMT.
Right.
And like literally like my whole past was thrown back in my face. Like,
Oh,
you are,
God.
like, these are the bad things you did. You can't do this again. Like, my heart, like, it was like pure, total ego death.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I came out of that going, okay, I need to change my ways. And like, literally from doing that DMT, that trip, that one time, I met my wife, we had kids, you know, and like, I've been a better person since then. I still wind people up all the time and try and, you know, be a bit of an asshole, but only, you know, only for fun. But when I was a kid, like, I just wasn't a good person. Like, I just wanted to, I don't know, I'm not self-destructive. I was more like outwardly destructive.
Yeah.
It's like, what can I ruin today?
Yeah,
what can I be a dick about today?
Do you think that came from somewhere? Or do you think that was just part of?
I think I just thought I was being punk as fuck, and
Right,
actually,
yeah.
I wasn't. I was just being a bit of a dick.
There's a fine line. There's a fine line, yeah.
And it was like performance kind of thing, because, you know, the stage performance, you know, you build that character on stage of being like this, like, aggressive frontman that wants to be, you know, like, people are seen as like, oh, he's dangerous, he's mad, he is. And, you know, that never kind of, that didn't switch off anymore.
Yeah.
It was like, I was just that
Yeah,
the whole
okay.
time, you know. And, you know, I think I did some things, and, you know, I've got friends now that kind of, I still don't think they look at me in the same way anymore. And you're like, okay, that sucks. But, you know, I've made up for it. I think I've definitely made up for it. I'm always out there trying to help people do things. I do every favour I can, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying, you know, I think, you know, like I said, I think I was a horrible person. Actually, in the grand scheme of things, I was probably still quite nice. But I would just do things that were stupid. And then, you know, I did this trip, and I actually I kind of got a reflection of myself in this trip, and I was like, you got to stop, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know. And it was literally the next day. I was just nice. Everyone around me was like, what happened? Are you high? Like, it's like,
Yeah. You're still up there.
actually, yeah. And it was just, it was good turnaround, and, you know, I feel really, and I was able to talk about things rather than just go, oh no.
Yeah. I think you're right. I've talked about this loads on this podcast. I've done stuff I'm not proud of, and I've been thoughtless. I've said this before. I have a selfish streak in me, a mile wide. And the thing is, with having that in you, you don't know you're doing it. You don't know you're doing it. You just suddenly you're doing it, and then it's not till later on you go, I've been doing that again. So I have to be really mindful of what my intentions are. Like what if I'm doing something? I'm like, why am I doing this? Is it something?
Yeah.
Am I being a prick again? And it's but having counselling and having spoken to people and doing meditation and you know, trying to sort yourself out. Yeah, I am better than I used to be, but there's still selfishness sometimes comes out, or not selfishness, thoughtlessness. You're dealing with stuff, you know, and like you said, when you fall out with somebody, you can say sorry and you can mean it. Of course, you mean it because you love that person, but the trust is fucked.
Yeah.
And trust takes so much to build, and I'm not saying you can't build it again, but it does take a lot, and there are people.
I think it's tainted as well, yeah.
It is, yeah.
And some people, like, again, like, it depends on the person as well, because, you know, some people take things a lot differently, and they have their own demons, and they have their own things going on. And when something like that happens, you know, that you've done, that, you know, it's quite minimal actually what happened, but I understood that they took it a lot harder than I would have taken if it happened to me. So for them to then, like, you know, we still see each other and we say hello, and we laugh and we talk about the old times, and you know, there's moments where, like, you see that glimmer of, like, this is how it used to be, but there's still, and then, like, sometimes you're like, oh no, he still feels like that.
It's hard, because like you say, you didn't mean it. You didn't mean it. It was just a thing that happened. And I'm saying this from experience as well. It's like, I didn't mean to not do whatever happened, but, you know, and I am sorry. And I have that sadness still. I still carry it around. I'm like, fuck, it happened, and there was reasons why, but I don't, like, nothing I can do about it. Yeah. But, and like you say, it's dependent on them, whether if it's hit them really hard, then they're going to go, do you know what, mate, actually go fuck yourself. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about that. No. You just have to deal with the sorrow. Yeah. Kind of go, right, that was on me.
Accept it. Yeah.
Yeah. Try not to do it again. Yeah,
it's quite hard as well, because I've got severe ADHD, and not like that fake ADHD that people say they've got. I've got it pretty bad. So I get single-minded hyper-focus.
Okay.
So if I want to do something, like, then nothing else matters. Literally
really?
Nothing else in this world matters. Like, I just forget. I can be lost for, like, days, just
Really?
in something. Yeah, I could be in the office, and then it'll be like 9 o'clock at night, and I'll have like 100 text messages from my wife going, "Where are you?"
Fuck.
Because I've been doing something, and it could be as trivial as playing Gran Turismo on PlayStation.
Just lost
Like,
it.
I just get lost in it. Like, I need to do this one mission, and if I don't do it, I can't stop. And I don't know that I'm doing it. It just repeats over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So it's I get that, but then I also get complacent as well. So I don't shut doors and like cupboard doors. They'll be open, and I won't even know I've done it. Like
Really?
stuff like that. So it's quite hard. Like when something happens that I've done wrong, I don't always know I've done it. That's where it gets quite, because so when someone's like sees that I've done something, and I don't know I've done it, that's when the issues begin.
Right.
So you can't apologise straight away because you don't know what you've done, and then when you find out, you're like, I'm mortified because I have no idea I've done it. So that's kind of where a lot of my problems used to stem from. But also not care. Then when I find out what I've done, just go, I don't care. But now it's like, I'm so sorry, I've got this.
Yeah,
I only found out when I was 30.
Yeah, but do you find that plays into being able to forgive as well? Do you think it's kind of because you've got that extreme where that's extreme, so is the other side extreme as well? You're like,
I forgive almost everyone, but sometimes something happens where it's just impossible, and I think that's where it's like something that's like when someone's knowingly going out of their way to be malicious, and I don't think I've ever knowingly gone out of my way to be malicious unless it's been deserved because I'm spiteful. but if someone's just like, you find stuff out about people like that you see as really good friends, and you find something out, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was part of your personality.
right.
Sorry, we can't be friends anymore.
Yeah, that must be hard. That is when I've had loved ones that I thought were one person, and then it turned out I'm like, I thought this was in a different place.
Yeah.
Okay. But then, and it's fucking hell. Being a human being is so hard.
It's so hard. It's a minefield, isn't it?
And then now people, we've got like, yes, there are people that I don't want to be. I'm not going to name any names or be horrible to anyone, but there are some people I know that are working an angle. They've kind of, in what we in comedy especially, there seems to be people at the minute need to have a thing. They go, oh, that's my thing. I'm the comedian that talks about that.
Yeah.
But there are other people like yourself that you've got actual proper extreme ADHD that affects your life.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But I think everyone's got an angle. I don't think it's exclusive to comedy or music or anything. I think everyone in their life wants to feel important or wants to feel like they've got something that makes them different, and that's really good. I think you should feel. I think everyone's individual, and you should have a chance to feel different and feel good. But don't make it. Yeah, don't make it everything, mate. Don't make it you. Make it like, just go, look, I've got this thing that I have.
Yeah.
I own it. I think it's. I had a really cool quote. I don't know if it's cool or good. That says, "Mental health is not your fault, but it is your problem."
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of like how I kind of deal with my ADHD. Like it's not my fault that my brain's completely mental.
Yeah.
But it's my problem, and I have to deal with it, and I have to work with it. And I think a lot of people go, "Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm so ADHD," and then like, yeah, but you just fucked this whole thing up, or you just did this horrible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my ADHD. It's like, yeah, you can't just use that as a get out of jail free card. It seems like, oh, yeah, it's just like, I've got bipolar. I can't.
Yeah. You can still be aware of how your behaviour is going to affect whatever you're working on or whoever you're interacting with.
Yeah.
But
if you know you've got that disorder or that issue with your brain, or just like just yourself, then you are responsible for what you do. It's not your fault, but you're still responsible.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's exactly that. It's not your fault. Of course it isn't. And then you have to incorporate it into your life, and you have to work with it. And that's like people. I say this all the time. I do stuff, and people go, "Well, yeah, you've obviously got ADHD," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know. It was probably mildly, but I think maybe I'm just a bit fucked. I just think far too many drugs when I was growing up. In my formative years, too much acid when I was 17, 18. I don't know. It might be. Who knows? But it's.
Who knows?
But anyone that's got that and has to deal with that, it must be hard. It must be hard. Like you say, because you don't even know. The other side of it is, it's like we're saying, yeah, you have to take responsibility. But the other side of it is, when it really kicks in, you don't even know you're doing it.
You can kind of, you can at least go, yeah, sorry, that was my thing. Or you don't even have to say sorry, I don't think. I think you go, so I was going through this thing, this was happening in my head. Like my wife kind of gets it now, because she teaches kids, and she goes, oh, I've had to do a course on ADHD. I'm so sorry for everything I've ever moaned at you about. Like, yeah, damn right.
As you walk out leaving all the cupboards open.
Yeah, I'm just leaving them open now. I'm knowingly doing it. Oh, the ADHD. Dog's out. Oh, I left the front door open. ADHD.
Where are the kids? ADHD.
Oh, they're still at school.
And anyone listening to this, I'm not knocking you. I feel for you. I know.
Yeah.
Being as someone like me who just... I can never fucking remember what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm always in the middle of something, and then I end up.
That's because you're 50, mate.
That's because I'm 50. Yeah. No, I don't do anything else. I just end up walking around in a circle. I'm like, I've got to do the washing. Oh yeah, but I better do that, and then I do that. I better do that. And I'm just round and round and round. And all of a sudden, it's 3 o'clock, and I'm like, I haven't done anything.
That's a mild form of ADHD for sure. That's definitely, I get in those loops.
Yeah.
It's I guess when you sit down, you're like going, right, I'm going to do this now, and you're like, but first, I'm going to watch a guy rebuild an Audi TT that's been crash damaged over 14 hours. I'm going to buy an Audi TT that's crash damaged. That's how I go.
And I'm going to do it. I'm going to copy. Yes. Oh God, I always do that. I was watching Dig, the documentary.
Oh, so good, isn't it?
So fucking good.
So good.
I hadn't seen it. It was one of them. I was like, I should get to that. And then nearly 20 years later, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch it now. And but then I was watching it. I'm like, I'm going to start a band. I'm like, what are you on about? Why? How can you not start a band now? That'd be daft.
Oh yeah.
Just, you know.
My friend Brad, he's got ADHD as well, and we're the serial hobbyists.
Right.
We had to set rules. So we set rules during lockdown because we were just starting new things like every month. So we've got these 3 guidelines for any hobby. It can't cost more than £100 to start. You can only do it ad hoc. So you can do it wherever you are. You can do it. And what was the third one? I can't remember the third one, but those were the 2 main ones. Like, and because we've done snowboarding, we've done skateboarding in America, we've gone like buying camper vans, doing them up, like all these things. But how many? I've got a snowboard that I use. I do snowboard all the time now, but I had a snowboard in my loft for 5 years that I never touched. And I was like, I'm going to have to snowboard now, because I was conscious effort to do it. And like, we started a clothing company in lockdown. Like I've got 300 woolly hats in my loft. I just wear them. I've got a fresh hat on every day. I'm like Drake.
Yeah, you're like Elton John, just wearing one, spin them.
Yeah, they're scattered everywhere. I gave one to the dog the other day.
But that's the same. I get really excited about a new thing. And it's all I can think about. I'm like, yes, doing this. And then one day I wake up and I don't want to do it. I don't care about it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I've got boxes of like action figures and Funko Pops from fucking all that, because I got into my head that I needed them. All these things from movies, and I've got boxes of them. And now I'm like, I don't want any. Yeah, see. I don't, but now I'm like, I'm just going to give these away. I don't even want them. See, that's it. And having been to your place, you're the same.
It's just toys everywhere, mate.
I've got
skateboards.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know if it was a thing from when I was a kid. I've said this before. I think maybe I'd had a breakdown and it was giving me comfort. It was all the stuff I couldn't afford when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I went, right, I'm going to have that. I'm going to have that I'm going to have that massive Batmobile.
Yeah,
because I couldn't have it when I was a kid.
I don't know if it's definitely something like that. I don't know if it's reliving your childhood, but I just loved it. Like if I see like Lego, I bought the Home Alone house, Lego house. It's like 5,000 pieces.
Wow,
Lego house. It's amazing. It was a sheer joy to build it on my own while the kids asked to play with it. I just blocked them out and just built this Lego Home Alone house, and it was amazing. But now it's just in our house.
Yeah.
Now
Now
I was
what?
like, what are we going to do with that then? I was like, well, every Christmas I'm gonna break it apart at the end of every Christmas, and every Christmas it's going to be a tradition that I build it. I guarantee you, I put that in that box, and it stays in that box for the rest of time until like my kids are like 15, and they go, "What's that?" I go, "That is the Home Alone house," and I'm going to build it, and you can watch me.
Well, that could be that could be your legacy. When you pass on, they'll just flog it.
Yeah,
It'll be worth a few quid.
It will be. I hope so.
I remember seeing the Millennium Falcon, and there was a big kit. It was like 600 quid, and I was like, at one, I haven't got 600 quid, but I was like, yeah, but it's what a thing to put together, what a thing to achieve. And I had it in my hand for an hour. I kept putting it down, picking it up, and I was like, I can't justify it.
No.
I can't go home with a £600 Lego kit. I'd get killed. And yeah, I just have these moments where I'm like, yeah, I need that in my life. But then, like you say, once you built it, then what?
Anyway, it just sits on our side at the moment. It's a Christmas decoration at the moment. I feel like all right because I got it for really cheap because we were working for Lego. We were doing some work for Lego at the time, so they gave us some vouchers. So I'm letting
that's all right.
Get away
Well,
with it.
that's fair enough then.
But still, it's just sitting on the side. But it is really impressive, and if anyone wants to see it, I'll follow me on Instagram and I'll put a picture of it up.
Yeah, do.
'Cause it's
I want to see
bloody
it.
brilliant.
But I think it's true. I think it's like going back to how shit everything is. I think more importantly, people do need an outlet, and it doesn't have to cost the earth. Just anything. Try and find something else to do that isn't looking at your phone for a
Yeah.
minute.
Get off Twitter. Get off Instagram.
Yeah, go and do something. And I know that sounds easier said than done, but the amount of time, because that's the thing as well, isn't it? Everyone says this, they go, oh, you know, before lockdown, everyone was like, oh, if I had more time, I'd do this, that and the other. Yeah. And then you had 2 years and you did fuck all. So it's not time.
It's definitely not time. I think I made the most of that lockdown. I was talking to we got a mutual friend Simon.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this the other day. We really enjoyed lockdown. Like I don't think it was great for our health, but like mental health. But it was so nice to see my kids grow up, like be there every day, like hanging out with them, and you know, it wasn't a burden. I was still like managed to do some work. I built a studio in my back garden that is now just a shed because we moved. I didn't have to be there anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, it was quite enjoyable, and like I know me and Simon kind of skirted the rules a bit because he was in that shed drinking with me every night. But we kind of enjoyed it because it was like we got to do a little bit of work in the day, and then we got to be at home, and there was no train travel. Like, if anyone who's commuted to London knows how horrible it actually is. Commuting is the worst.
It's fucking horrible. Whenever I've had to do it, I feel so sorry for everybody. When you see like 2 hours to get to work and then 2 hours to get home.
Yeah, and you don't get paid.
No,
you pay. My dad's what 63 now, and he's still doing it.
Mate.
Like he still commutes every day. He could barely walk. He's on he gets the bus. You know, he's got his little Apple Watch. He doesn't get his phone out of his pocket to change the music. And like I was like, do you really want to commute?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I hate it. I've hated every single moment my entire life commuting. It's like,
yeah.
Is there no way you can do it? Like your job here?
But the other thing as well is that the thing is though, having spoken to some people that are working from home now, and they're like, it's driving me mad. And so what you need that balance, don't you? You need to be able to. You need to go somewhere to do it.
Yeah.
But there has to be an alternative to being stuck on public transport, paying through the fucking nose to stand there.
Yeah.
Or sitting in your car on the M25 for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I used to drive to Loughton for work every day.
Oh my God.
And it was like soul destroying. Yeah. And I was just the day they announced that they were moving the office to Southend, I was like, this is amazing. I can go home. But I just don't. I understand why people get angry on like driving on the M25 and stuff, and I understand why people like are angry on trains because it's just like you're just locked in this tube or in this car with nothing but people arguing with each other on their on your phone. That's all you've got for entertainment because people like. I mean, I used to read on my commute, which is actually the one thing I don't do now is read as much because I haven't got the commute. But you just see people just mindlessly scrolling on their phones, just absorbing like anger from the internet. It's like they're downloading rage and like discontent from these social media platforms that are literally built to make you, like, to show you the stuff that gets a reaction out of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think, like, especially Facebook, like, I open up Facebook now. Like, I wouldn't have seen that you needed a guest for today if I hadn't opened up Facebook.
No.
But the only reason I open up Facebook now is to kind of check whose birthday it is that day.
Yeah.
And then I go, and then I close it, and I go and text someone, "Happy birthday," that's the only reason I open Facebook now, or to sell something.
Yeah. I don't.
So-
I. This is the thing. Like, what we do is all reliant on interaction from people, and I'm starting to. I've had a moment today where I've gone, actually, I can use this for positivity. I can use this for good stuff. If I'm actually creating and putting stuff out, I feel much better about it all. But it's when I'm not, and I'm just sitting there scrolling, and I'm like, I'm looking at people they're showing their outfit of the day, and you go, that's just from H&M. Why are you showing me that? It's unimaginative. If you were walking around with a feather boa and a top hat and all, and I was like, you look brilliant. Where did you get all that from? That looks interesting. But if you just go, oh yeah, I got this from Topshop. This was from New Look. Yeah. It doesn't. So what? It's just And you just,
I think I made a conscious decision to not comment on people's posts a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, I think that people shouldn't. They're not putting it out there because they are actually putting it out there for people to comment on and like, because they need that endorphin rush. But if I haven't got enough, there's that classic saying: if you haven't got something nice to say, don't say something.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Comments on YouTube, comments on that. If I'm on YouTube, I know a comment might make my friend's video boost his thing, and it's good for them to have a comment on a video. But on Instagram, I just try not to comment, just because I just feel like it's not my place. I've got nothing nice to say. I'm not going to say anything.
Did you get a little buzz out of it before, though? That's what I mean.
I used to like winding people up on it, but I think again, like, it just kills time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't really do anything for you, like commenting on making someone's life miserable, saying something horrible. I've never gone out of my way to say stuff horrible.
No.
But I'd always try and make a funny gaff on someone's posts.
Yeah.
But now I try not to even do that, just because I don't want the replies.
Yeah, I know. I got involved. I was on Jack Skipper. Is this TikTok star comedian guy? Lovely fella, really lovely fella, and he does videos and things like that. And I was a guest on that, and I got involved in the comments on the video afterwards. And now I still get notifications coming up on the thing. I haven't got my notifications on my phone, but it comes up on Instagram.
Yeah.
This person said this, and I'm like, oh, God, fucking learn the art.
Never read the comments.
Never read the comments, mate.
Never read the comments.
Post and drop. That's what you got to do. Just post and drop, mate, and you're done. But are you in a better place now after everything, or are you just still working on it?
I think I'm in a really good place now. I've got, I work with my best mate. I do the work I enjoy doing. I sometimes make music. I sometimes sit and play Xbox, and I've got my kids and I've got my wife, and we just plod along and we do fun stuff when we can. I'm just mindful of, like, getting into a shit place. Like, if I feel myself going down, like, I feel like shit, I feel shit, I feel like a shit, I feel like shit, I just do whatever I can to get out of it. Like, I'll microdose psilocybin for a month or whatever. I'll just find something, like, I'll try something, I'll experiment with something, just to try and get out of any funk that I might be slipping into. And I've never really struggled with depression, but since that lockdown, I've felt anxious. I've had depressions build in, like, just from, like, I think this is the worst email or message you can get someone. Have you got 5 minutes for a chat? That will spiral me.
Really?
Because I just think it's really unfair to kind of drop that onto someone, because it's so ambiguous. It could mean anything.
Yeah.
It could mean you're going to get sacked. It could mean I hate you, or you fucked this up, or I found this thing that you've done and I really hate you for it, or and it kind of spirals me out instantly.
Yeah.
So if I've made a conscious decision that when people say that to me, I go, if you could let me know what this is about before we chat, that'd be amazing. Thank you. That's all you need to say. And if they can't tell you, then I'll refuse the meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a client about a year ago that always did it to us. Guys, you got a second for a chat today? And then they'd go radio silent, and then they go, booking the meeting in for free. I was like, yeah, but you need to tell us what it's about so we can prepare. Like, we need to, if it's like something's gone wrong with a file, at least we can find out why it's gone wrong, or if we've done something in an edit that you didn't like, but we didn't address some feedback. Like, you can, that kind of thing. It used to spiral me into like this. I'd be gone. Like, so now I try and get like an answer for that, so I can end that spiral quickly. Yeah. Anything like that. Anything ambiguous where you're like, I don't know what this is about. It sends me.
Do you think that comes from before when you were doing shitty things and you just...
Yeah, I think it does. I've been found out. What have I done?
Oh, no. I know what you mean. Do you know what? I've got a real aversion to the phone ringing, because it used to, when I lived at home and I was trying to hide from people because I was up to no good. Just in relationships. I was being shitty in relationships.
Yeah.
And the phone and the landline would ring, and so that noise of the landline ringing just makes me go, oh fuck! And then it keeps, and it's relentless, and it just, and it's, that's from years ago when I was a proper dickhead.
Well, I've got that, and it's from when I was touring. I would, I just had no money. I was like proper poor, like where we'd given a £5 a day PD to eat from the band account. But I still had like a car at home, and I had like a flat and stuff. And me and my sister and her husband lived together in a flat. But a lot of I had bills, like phone bills and stuff, and like I just didn't pay them. Yeah, and I was just in mountains of debt. So like from the age of 20, that's where most of my shittiness was just not paying people things. So from 23 to 28, I was just in debt. So any phone call was like, oh, they're going to want money off me and I haven't got any money. Yeah. That's where my aversion to answering the phone comes from. That's why I text people, because I don't want to speak on the phone in case someone goes, oh, by the way, we're at your front door, we've come to collect.
Yeah, I'm the same. And I'm still, mate, there's some stuff now I haven't dealt with, and I'm like, just fucking ring them. And then the longer you leave it, the worse it gets, and you're like, just ring them. And now I can't, it's been too long.
Ring them, they'll set up a payment plan. It'd be really easy.
You'll be fine. They don't want your stuff. Your stuff's shit.
Yeah, they can't sell it.
They can't sell it. Last one they want is your shit. What are they going to do with it?
You've put stupid stickers all over it, you idiot. They don't want it.
The box is fucked. They can't sell that.
Well, you'd hope they could probably take that my Lego Home Alone house, and they could sell that. But that's about it.
But this is, and I keep doing it.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. Yeah. So tomorrow,
deal with it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
I actually, my hat's off to my dad actually, from like when it happened, when I was at my worst with it. He was like, he just sat there and went, right, here's all the letters that we found hidden in your flat. This is what you need to pay. Right, we're going to ring every single one of those people up now. And he sat there with me, and he went, and get a payment plan set up, right?
Yeah.
He goes, or you're going to work it all out, and he goes, and we're going to get a credit card in his name. He's going to pay it off like what he can on that, and I'll pay him back. I'll set up a direct debit. And if he hadn't done that, I think I'd still be like, there's still be stuff coming in and out now. So I like, hats off to him to like kind of sorting it out for me, and just sort of slapping me around the back of the head and going like, you fucked up. And then obviously this is before I was diagnosed, but like this is like a massive thing for like anyone suffering with ADHD.
Yeah.
Or if you don't know and you're like struggling with not just having money, but like paying things.
Yeah.
Just ring them up now, because it was the relief when you go and the payment plan's set up and we won't be coming to your front door. It's like,
I know. I did it the other day. I did one. I answered the phone. I can't remember what. I thought it was something else, and I answered the phone. And then they went, "Oh, hello, this is Barclays. We want to talk about your loan." Like, oh shit, yeah. But they were great, and the guy was brilliant. He went, and then he goes, "Well, let's go through your finances." And we went through, and he goes, "You're actually living on. How do you get by?" He goes, "You're on with all your bills and that. You're on minus." I went, yeah, but it's because I'm self-employed, so sometimes I'll have loads and then sometimes I'll have none, and I kind of work it out like that. I said, I just make it work. And he went, all right, fair enough. And then he goes, well, how much can you afford? I went, I'll pay this. And he went, all right then, yeah, fine. He goes, it'll take you a long time to pay it off, but he's, and then I got off the phone, I went, oh yeah, that was great. I need to do the others.
So much relief when you actually go, okay, there's a plan now. And I think it is like, I always say, the key to happiness is having something to look forward to. And like when like I was just going through that debt shit, I could see an end in sight of when I wouldn't have that anymore, because I wasn't getting any more debt. I just had these things from before, so I could see an end in sight. And like I had the date like circled in the calendar and everything. Again, this day, 3 years time, I'm gonna owe no one anything. And it like that day was amazing. And the only person I owe now is the bank for my house.
Yeah, and that's
like I had a car, like I stupidly got a Tesla in the lockdown that is ridiculously expensive and I don't need. And the bloke rang me up today because he went, oh, I see you want to terminate your thing early. I was like, yeah, I just don't want it anymore. He goes, well, normally you have to pay 50% of the total thing, which it was like £6,000-7,000. I was like, fuck, when they take it off me, I'm just going to not pay it. I was like, I was just not going to pay it. And he was like, but like, we've not serviced your account properly. We've failed to reply to emails and stuff. So we're going to just waive that fee.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh
mate.
So yeah, it was a nice weight off my shoulders. But yeah,
lovely.
I mean, but that again, that's what that lockdown did, didn't it? Everyone was just spending money hand over fist, didn't they? It was just going, oh, what can I do to make myself happy?
I know. And it was things like that. It was I didn't miss a single payment for my bank loan. I was on it. And then as soon as lockdown happened, just stopped paying it. And I just fucking wish I hadn't. And now it's sorted out. But yeah, you're right. Tomorrow, I'm getting on it. Tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm going to check in on you, mate. I'm going to text you.
Yeah, do. Because I'm going to do it first thing.
I'm going to comment on an Instagram.
You're giving out advice. Yeah, you're giving out advice and you haven't fucking sorted yourself out.
Pay your bills.
Pay your bills, knobhead. But this has been great, Ben. I'm glad we could do this. I've been meaning to get you on for ages, mate. So where can we find you on all the socials and things like that?
I've got Twitter now. I didn't have Twitter before, but now I think I've got Twitter. It's a nice place now. It's a lot friendlier than it was before. So that's I am Ben Mills on Twitter, and then on Instagram it's B3N Mills.
Right,
put the 3 instead of an E,
mate. It's the future.
Hacker man there. And then I've got a Linktree, which is Linktree / I am Ben Mills, and that's like got all my work stuff on there.
Hellfire Creative and all that.
Hellfire Creative and all that stuff.
Nice, mate. Lovely. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, really cool. I'm glad we did this. Yeah, and do you know what? I feel better having spoken to you.
Good.
Yeah. So there you go.
I feel terrible.
Well, we'll have another chat.
I feel lovely. I'm going to go for a beer now, I think.
Yeah, do it, mate. Yeah, so are we. Nice one, Ben. Merry Christmas, mate.
Merry Christmas.